Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. In today's fast-paced digital world, information travels at lightning speed. With just a few taps on a screen, news can reach millions of people across the globe in a matter of minutes, changing perceptions and sparking conversations instantly. A single headline, whether true or false, can circle the globe before anyone has a chance to question it. The power of a headline today is immense. It can shape opinions, influence decisions, and even cause panic. Recently, a shocking rumor exploded online. Coca-Cola, one of America's most iconic brands, was supposedly leaving the United States and suing the government for billions of dollars over new tariffs. The story seemed to come out of nowhere, but it quickly gained traction. The story was carefully crafted to sound urgent and believable, tying a beloved American brand to a hot political issue. It played on people's emotions and fears, making it even more compelling. Within hours, it spread like wildfire on social media, sparking outrage, confusion, and worry about the future of the economy. People shared their concerns, debated the news, and wondered what it meant for American jobs. The very idea of Coca-Cola abandoning its American roots was both powerful and deeply alarming. For many, it felt like a sign that something was seriously wrong. Many believed the story without question, seeing it as proof that recent economic policies were driving away even the most iconic companies. The rumor tapped into existing anxieties and spread even further, but here's the truth. The entire story was completely fake. There was no plan for Coca-Cola to leave the US, and no lawsuit was ever filed. Coca-Cola never intended to abandon its home country, and the supposed lawsuit was pure fiction. The story was nothing more than a carefully constructed piece of misinformation. This rumor was designed to mislead, provoke strong reactions, and sow confusion. It's a perfect example of how easily misinformation can spread in our hyper-connected world. In this video, we'll break down exactly how this fake story managed to fool so many people and reveal what really happened behind the scenes. We'll help you separate fact from fiction and share practical tips on how to spot fake news in a world where headlines can't always be trusted. Let's dig in and learn how to protect ourselves from being misled. For fake news to spread, it has to feel possible. The Coca-Cola rumor was built on a real issue: tariffs on imported aluminum. People already knew tariffs were causing business headaches, so the story felt plausible. Coca-Cola is a global giant. People are used to hearing about companies moving operations for profit. The story tapped into beliefs that corporations act in their own interest, even if it means drastic moves. The political climate was divided, making people more likely to accept stories that matched their views. Confirmation bias in action. The claim of a billion-dollar lawsuit added drama and made it sound official. By mixing a real policy, a famous brand, and a dramatic claim, the rumor bypassed critical thinking and played on emotions. It was the perfect recipe for viral fake news. When a story fits what we already believe, we're less likely to question it. That's how misinformation takes hold. Let's take a closer look at the facts and separate reality from rumor. In today's world, information spreads faster than ever, but not everything you hear or read is true. That's why it's important to dig deeper and examine the evidence before jumping to conclusions. If Coca-Cola were actually planning to leave the United States, it would be impossible to keep it a secret. There would be official announcements from the company, press releases sent to every major news outlet, and wall-to-wall coverage on television and online. Such a massive move would dominate headlines and spark discussions everywhere. But when we search through Coca-Cola's official statements, government filings, and public records, there's no mention of any such plan. The company's communications remain focused on business as usual, with no hint of a dramatic exit. And what about the supposed lawsuit that's been mentioned in viral posts? After checking court records and scanning credible news sources, there's absolutely no evidence to support this claim. No legal filings, no reputable news reports, just silence. In fact, the complete lack of evidence is the biggest clue of all. When a story this big leaves no trace in official records, it's a strong sign that the story was simply made up. Let's use some common sense too. Coca-Cola's global headquarters are in Atlanta, Georgia, and the United States is by far its largest and most important market. The company has deep roots here, with thousands of employees and decades of history. Relocating a company of this size would be a massive public and extremely expensive process. It would involve moving factories, offices, and staff, something that simply can't be done quietly or overnight. So where did this rumor come from? Most likely it started on a fake news website designed to attract attention, generate clicks, and make money from advertising. These sites often publish sensational stories with little regard for the truth. They mimic the look and feel of real news outlets, but their only goal is to spread false or misleading information that gets people talking and sharing. The Coca-Cola story was crafted to go viral, using a famous brand and a shocking claim to grab attention. It was never about reporting the truth. It was about getting as many shares and clicks as possible. This is a textbook example of disinformation in action. A well-known name, a hot-button issue, and a story that's completely fabricated from start to finish. That's why it's so important to always check the source before believing or sharing a viral story. Look for credible news outlets, official statements, and verifiable facts. Remember, the truth is usually less dramatic than the rumors, and it's almost always easier to verify if you know where to look. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and always dig a little deeper. While the rumor was false, tariffs did impact Coca-Cola. The US imposed taxes on imported aluminum, raising costs for companies that use it, like Coca-Cola. Aluminum is essential for their cans, so even a small price hike meant millions in extra expenses. This wasn't unique to Coca-Cola. Car makers, brewers, and others felt it too. Tariffs are meant to help domestic producers, but they can hurt companies that rely on those materials. The fake news twisted a real business challenge into a dramatic lie. The truth? Coca-Cola faced higher costs, not an existential crisis. The company had to adapt, not abandon the US. This is how real-world problems get distorted online. The kernel of truth, rising costs, made the fake story believable. But the reality was a normal business challenge, not a corporate exodus. Understanding the facts helps us see through the fiction. So how did Coca-Cola really respond to higher aluminum costs? They did what most companies do. They raised prices slightly to offset expenses. CEO James Quincy explained the situation publicly in 2018, calling the price hikes modest but necessary. Instead of panic or lawsuits, Coca-Cola made careful, targeted adjustments. This is standard business practice. When costs go up, some of that is passed to consumers. Coca-Cola also continued to engage with policymakers, sharing data and concerns through normal channels, not threats. Their response was measured and professional, not dramatic. The fake story painted a picture of crisis. The reality was calm adaptation. Coca-Cola focused on managing costs and communicating clearly. They remained committed to the US market. The real story is one of steady business management, not sensational headlines. Companies adapt to challenges. They don't flee at the first sign of trouble. That's the real lesson here. To truly grasp the story behind tariffs and their impact on business, it's important to first understand what tariffs are and how they function in the real world. Tariffs aren't just abstract policies. They're tools that shape the way companies operate, the prices we pay, and even the jobs people have. A tariff is essentially a tax placed on goods that are brought into a country from abroad. The main goal is to make imported products more expensive, so that products made within the country become more attractive to buyers. This is supposed to help domestic industries compete against foreign companies. For example, when tariffs are placed on metals like aluminum and steel, US metal producers may benefit because their products become relatively cheaper. But there's a flip side. Companies that rely on those metals, such as Coca-Cola, suddenly face higher costs for the materials they need to make their products. When businesses are hit with these increased costs, they have a few choices. They can absorb the loss and accept lower profits, try to find new suppliers in other countries, or pass the extra costs on to their customers by raising prices. Each option comes with its own set of challenges and risks. In reality, most companies, including Coca-Cola, end up passing at least some of those higher costs to consumers. That means you might notice your favorite soda or snack costing a bit more at the store, even if you don't realize why. This situation isn't unique to Coca-Cola. Across the country, countless American businesses, large and small, have faced similar challenges as tariffs ripple through supply chains and affect bottom lines. The debate over tariffs is ongoing and complicated. Some argue that tariffs protect American jobs and industries, while others believe they end up hurting more businesses and workers than they help. The reality is rarely black and white. For global companies, any new trade barrier like a tariff means they have to carefully plan, adapt their strategies, and sometimes even rethink their entire supply chain to stay competitive. Coca-Cola's response is typical for a multinational corporation. They adjust their operations, communicate transparently with stakeholders, and keep moving forward, always looking for ways to stay resilient in a changing world. The real story here isn't about companies abandoning the country or making dramatic exits. It's about businesses navigating a constantly shifting landscape of policies and regulations, and finding ways to survive and thrive. Tariffs do create winners and losers, but the reality is far more nuanced than the dramatic headlines or viral rumors you might see online. The effects are complex, and often play out quietly behind the scenes. In the end, dealing with tariffs and trade barriers is simply part of doing business in today's interconnected global economy. Companies must stay flexible, informed, and ready to adapt, because change is always just around the corner. The Coca-Cola rumor shows how fast fake news can spread online. It starts with an emotional headline, something shocking or outrageous. Social media algorithms boost stories that get lots of reactions, so fake news travels fast. When friends share it, we're more likely to believe it. Social proof in action. Most people don't check the original source, they trust what's in their feed. Echo chambers form, where false stories get repeated until they seem true. Our own biases make us more likely to believe stories that fit our views. Confirmation bias. Fake news creators know this and target different groups with tailored stories. The result? Misinformation spreads quickly, dividing people and fueling confusion. The best defense is to pause, question, and verify before sharing. Don't let your emotions be manipulated by viral lies. In a world of endless headlines, critical thinking is essential. When a story seems shocking, pause and ask, who wrote this? Is it a trusted source? A quick online search can reveal if major news outlets are reporting the same thing. Fact-checking sites like Snopes and Reuters can quickly debunk viral rumors. Look for red flags, no author, strange web addresses, or lots of typos. By taking a moment to verify, you help stop the spread of misinformation. Correcting friends gently and sharing reliable sources makes the internet safer for everyone. Responsible sharing is everyone's job. The truth is simple. Coca-Cola is not leaving the United States. Its headquarters and largest market are here, and it remains a pillar of the American economy. The lawsuit story was pure fiction. The real response was a modest price increase. This episode is a reminder to question dramatic headlines and check the facts. In a world of viral rumors, critical thinking is our best defense. Coca-Cola is still an American icon, adapting to challenges, not running from them. The rumors were just noise. The reality is business as usual, and Coca-Cola isn't going anywhere.